How do you know that you're getting a no-cost refinance? I pulled out 4 page 2s of closing disclosures, and I just want to run through the math, really super simple, with you so that you can do the math for yourself. Okay, so my name's Kevin Retcher, owner of First Meridian Mortgage. I'm licensed as a mortgage broker in Virginia, Maryland, D.C. I've been doing no-cost refis for clients since 1996. I think, other than PMC Mortgage and maybe one or two other companies out there, I think that we probably have most companies beat when it comes to doing no-cost refis. I like to think that we're one of the kings, so to speak. The only way you do that is to keep a low overhead and low pricing, and be very aggressive with maintaining low bills. Okay, and that's the only real way to do a no-cost refi. So I'm going to get into it. It's a simple math equation. If you look at page 2, it's A plus B plus C equals D right here, right? And then E. So D and E are the one-time transactional costs that are actually costs when you're doing a loan, along with if there's anything in H, but that's generally on purchases, okay? But so if you add D and E together and then subtract any credits, lender credits usually are in box J. There are exceptions to the rule. But so it should be D plus E minus J. If you do that equation and figure out the math, you're going to know whether or not you got a no-cost refi. This person paid 28.77 in D, 12.57 in E, and got a credit of 47.22.19 in J. So he's essentially making about $500 doing this deal. So he lowered his rate. He did not pay any transactional cost. He did have to pay for the startup of his escrow account and his prepaids. Those are not fees. That is cash flow. In box F, essentially, it's insurance and your interest. You're going to skip a payment at the end of the month that you close in, and then you're going to get your escrow back from your current lender if you have an account with them. And they should be similar, but they're not going to be exact, okay? One could be higher than the other, but no matter what happens, this guy made $500. His family has to be roughly $500 better when everything is said and done. So let's go to another example. In this example, person box D, 38.77, box E, 23.78, and in box J, he got paid $6,900. These two add up to be about 61, 62. So he made about $600 or $700. So no matter what happens, he's $600 or $700 better, no matter what happens, lowering his interest rate and doing a no-cost refinance. Now, VA loans can get a little bit more tricky. All right, veterans, I want you to listen to me extensively. I consider a no-cost refi on a EARL, an interest rate reduction loan, to be when all the costs are covered and your VA funding fee. Now, if majority of all the costs are covered and part of the VA funding fee, that's a low cost. I'm okay with doing that. They do allow you to roll that on a VA EARL. You can roll all of that in. So I'm going to say beware of the loan officer that says the first thing out of his mouth, you can skip 2 mortgage payments, and I can have your cash to close at 0 at the closing table. You can roll in that funding fee and roll in the closing cost. The first thing you got to do is stop them there and say, am I getting any lender credit toward any of that, right? You don't want to roll. If your loan balance is increasing, ask questions. First and foremost, ask. In this situation, I'm going to run through some numbers because in this situation, this 27.49 is in my veterans column. Okay, so all the fees in box A, B, and C are moved to the right, and there's an L beside them. They are being paid by the lender. In this situation, the lender is reducing the credit that he would have in J and allocating them toward those one-time transaction costs uh, and moving them out of the veterans column. Now, if you don't have enough money to cover the entire VA funding fee, you can't pay a partial, right? So in this particular situation, you have to do the math, right? Look at D is 2749. E is all moved to the left is 0. And then in the prepaids, what do we have here? We have lender credits on obligations that would normally be yours. Those are $1,513 going to insurance and $1,082 for interest. So about $2,600 of what would normally be your fee is being covered on your behalf, but you're paying this $27.49. So this is a low cost deal. The veteran paid about $150 in totality, had 95% of his VA funding fee paid and all the closing costs, and lowered his rate, the requirement of at least 0.5%. In this case, it was a little bit more. So, but I do want to show you a second VA scenario, just so you can understand and have a good idea of how they might do this. They also, again, moved all these fees over to the left. And so nothing in D, nothing in E is left here, right? They're all in the left column. And there was an extra credit down here in the lender credit of $173.44. So this extra credit then goes toward box F and G. And so he made essentially $173 doing this loan. Here's the thing. I am a veteran. I'm a veteran-owned mortgage broker. I care about no-cost refis. I've been doing them since 1996. I care about VA IRRRLs. I specialize in those. 40% of my business, roughly, is usually VA loans also. If you want to reach out to me, I'm licensed in Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. Here's the thing. I'm happy to review any loan estimates and help you even if you're not in my state, right? I have 34 other broker owners like me in other states that I can refer you to. If, in fact, you're looking for help in another state, also can tell you, go to mortgagematchup.com and you can punch in a zip code and find a mortgage broker similar to me in any jurisdiction. On my website, you can go to liverates.com, get a live quote. You can click on there, and very quickly, if you're looking to do a refinance, if you just put in, I'm just going to put in 500 as a value, 400,000 as a loan amount, put in a zip code. Sorry. Go put in a veteran. Literally, within about 5 or 10 seconds, you can get a rate quote. It's not going to be all the rates. It's a lot of times when people call, I have better rates than what are showing up on this site. But these are live rates coming from my investors. Sometimes I have some specials with one investor or another. You click on those if you want to see the VA rates, you want to click there. But this gives you a basis of figuring out whether or not you're getting a good deal, either with someone else or even just in general if you're shopping for a purchase or refinance. Green means that's a credit toward your closing costs. Red means you're paying points. Okay, it is as simple as that. If you'd like to make an appointment, you can just schedule an appointment, click on that button. It'll take you to a Calendly link. and you can schedule an appointment that way. And then also, if you'd like to start a loan application, you can either click the big green button at the top or start a loan application right there in the middle. All right. It is secure. I do not pull credit until we actually speak with each other. So, in general, if you have any questions, reach out to me. My email address is kevin@firstmeridianmortgage.com. Happy to review any estimates. And to all the Marines out there, I'm going to say Semper Fi. To all my other fellow veterans, thank you for your service. I am a veteran-owned mortgage broker. I've been in business for almost 30 years. October will be 30 years. If you have any questions, just reach out. But in general, remember D plus E minus J to figure out if you're getting a no-cost refi, and if they've moved closing cost over into the left column, put an L there. That means the lender's actually paying those on your behalf. Just add all those up, and then figure out what's left in your column. It's not that hard. Keep in mind when you do a no-cost refi, you are actually taking a slightly higher interest rate to cover those closing costs. But if that interest rate is below where you're at now, you're saving money for free. You're not paying out those closing costs, and you keep that gunpowder dry. And if rates continue to go down, if you want to pay closing costs on a second refi or a third, then go ahead and do that. But use the bank's money to chase down the interest rates until the Fed potentially stops moving rates. Right. So right now, if you were looking at the Fed watch, they're predicting no rate cuts right now for July, March, or April. That rates are going to stay primarily the same. But you never know what Mr. Trump's push is going to do, and Jerome Powell's going to be ending his chairmanship in May. So it's going to be an interesting year, the first half of the year. Stay with me. If you have a need for a refinance, if you've purchased in the last 2 or 3 years, you absolutely probably already in the money. And give me a call. And if nothing else, we can get you on the watch list. Again, my name is Kevin Retro, owner of First Meridian Mortgage. Talk to you soon.